Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show. We do business for breakfast on a Friday, but today we'll do a blend with a bit of current affairs as well as politics. And on the program today, we have an interview and we'll be taking your views on the topic of discussion. Your views matter. It is the reason that we exist as Camnet TV. Hence, we are going to get the conversation going. You can do so by calling the number that will be put on your screen so that we can get the conversation going, especially pertaining to the Kabushi and Kwacha Constituency by-elections. This is because we saw yesterday the rejection of the nomination of Bowman, Lusambo and Malanji for Kabushi and Kwacha constituency respectively. But for now, we go straight to our first segment we call Health Corner, so that the Medical Women Association of Zambia can give us an understanding pertaining to menopause. Stay tuned.
Good morning to you listeners. I'm Dr. Mutinta Muyuni, member of the Medical Women's Association, and I'm here to talk to you today a little more about the menstrual cycle. Today we are going to discuss the menstrual cycle disorders. Now yesterday we talked about where this all starts, the beginning of what we call our womanhood or our mark of womanhood, the menstrual cycle. We have a monthly menstrual period. Now that can come. The bleeding can be anything between three days to about 7 days, and it comes every, say, 21 to 28 days ideally. Now I want it to be clear that each woman must understand their own cycle. Some women or girls may have a 21-day cycle, meaning from the start of the last bleeding until the next bleeding, there's a space of 21 days in between. The first day of the bleeding, we call it day 1. The middle of the cycle is where we expect ovulation to occur. Now I'll give you a tip. There are a lot of apps on our phones these days that help us to count and keep track of our menstrual cycles. And this can help us anticipate. For example, if I know I'm traveling the week I'm having my period, I'll know to prepare a bit extra, or I'll know what I'm expecting. Maybe I might need some painkillers for my period pains, things like that. So it's always good for us girls not to just say, oh, I can't remember when my last period was. Let's be aware, let's be smart, let's predict our expected period. I'll tell you why a little bit later. So, when we have our periods, we may differ. So don't feel bad if your period comes every 21 days. Rather, understand yourself and your own cycle. I'm emphasizing this because we always compare ourselves to other people. Try and compare maybe even to the women in your particular family or your mother, your sisters. See how it went for them. But by far, embrace your own cycle as your own. Manage yourself because we are all unique. Each of us has a unique cycle. There are disorders associated with the variations in the menstrual cycle. One is amenorrhea. Amenorrhea is absence of the menstrual cycle. It may be primary, meaning by age 16, 18, I've not had a menstrual cycle at all. In this case, we'd encourage you to seek medical care and see why is this not happening. Is it that there is something different in my reproductive system, or my hormones are just delayed in maturing up, my reproductive system, my ovulation is delayed. What could be the problem? Your doctor or healthcare provider will be able to assist you, do some tests and find out. Like I said, don't worry about being different. Let's embrace ourselves. Let's not panic. There's good news for everybody. As long as you accept how you are as an individual, you are good enough for me, you are good enough for everyone else. The second disorder I'll bring your attention to is polymenorrhea. When you have bleeding starting and stopping and resuming again within the same month, we call that polymenorrhea or frequent menses. This can be a bit upsetting because sometimes during our periods, the fact that we have to change pads, the fact that we become a bit moody, a bit bloated, sore, slow down in everything that we're doing, having a period twice can be a bit much. And so you want to take care of yourself and see, do I just have a short biological cycle, or this is caused by a medical condition? All these answers can be told to you from a healthcare provider. The challenge with polymenorrhea or frequent periods is sometimes you become anemic, or your blood level or hemoglobin becomes low. You may feel a bit dizzy and a bit uneasy as you are going about your work. Sometimes you even black out. Don't let yourself get to that stage. Know your cycle and know how to manage yourself. I think the most common disorder of the menstrual cycle is menorrhagia, what we call heavy menses or heavy bleeding. Now this one can be due to hormone levels. It can also be due to anatomic conditions or physical conditions of the uterus. It may be larger because of fibroids, or it may be larger because of the lining is thicker because of conditions like polyps or small growths within the lining, or increased thickness due to the influence of hormones like estrogen. Now, like polymenorrhea or frequent periods, menorrhagia typically will lower your HB or your hemoglobin. It will lower your blood level and result in anemia if you don't manage yourself. Now, because we don't talk about periods, we might not know that this is actually a problem. So I want you to listen carefully. If you fall in any of these categories and you find that your quality of life is suffering because of your menstruation, visit a health center, discuss with us, open up, don't be shy. A lot of women go through this, but the trick is knowing how to manage yourself. I'm Dr. Mutinta Muyuni, gynecologist from Medical Women Association, talking to you today about menstrual disorders. We'll talk a bit more about that tomorrow.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and we are glad that you are watching wherever you may be. And we were having our first segment, our Health Corner, and the Medical Women Association of Zambia was actually educating us on menstrual disorders pertaining to the subject that we've been handling, that's on menopause. And that was Dr. Mutinta Muyuni, who has been elaborate on this subject. We hope you manage to learn one or two things so that you can manage yourselves. And it is important that you get those instructions, because they are vital towards you taking a proactive approach towards safeguarding your health. And you can still follow the breakfast show even when it is done, but to listen to the Health Corner so that you can be able to get informed on various issues pertaining to health. Just now, we go straight into our next segment we call the money market so that we can understand how the kwacha is performing against other major convertibles. So the US dollar is buying at 15 kwacha 980 ngwe and selling at 16 kwacha 29 ngwe. The euro is buying at 15 kwacha 92 ngwe and selling at 16 kwacha 24 ngwe. And the great British pound is buying at 18 kwacha 86 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 23 ngwe. And the South African rand is buying at 95 kwacha and 90 ngwe rather, and while it is selling at 97. Well, the kwacha has been performing better, as you can see for yourselves there. It is even competing with the euro at 15 as well, and the Great British Pound at 18. Normally this the 18 would have been for the US dollar kwacha arrangement, but now even the euro is within the 15 kwacha range. And we have been speaking to various economists on this platform, and they have suggested that this is actually due to the fact that the Bank of Zambia, the Ministry of Finance, they are putting in place economic fundamentals to just stabilize the currency. However, we are also preview that others have been of the view that it is on account that the Zambia government is not servicing its debt, hence the currency has been performing like that. Others have been of the view that the US dollar hasn't been performing as expected, hence it has advantaged the kwacha. But whatever the case, it is doing fine, and it is good for the business community and for the economy of Zambia, as if it continues within that range, it means Zambians are likely to see the benefits. Talking about the benefits, we've seen that others have moved in to start reducing prices of commodities to just ensure that they transfer the costs. And we just hope that they will act in tune, because in Zambia we've been accustomed to a situation where when prices rise, they do not reduce. But we are seeing a change in this trajectory, and we witnessed it during the reduction of bus fares, because bus fares have always been on an upward trajectory, but we saw a reduction in this month following a reduction in the fuel pump price. That was a commendable move. We saw RATSA and other institutions being at loggerheads to ensure that they just comply to the bus fares, the commuters as well. But they managed eventually to reduce by 2 kwacha. It's still a benefit to the consumers. We just hope that the downward trajectory in terms of the fuel prices will continue, so that consumers can continue to benefit even this coming month, because as you already know, the ERB will be reviewing by the end of this month of August, and we just hope for the best so that citizens can benefit while they can. And just now we look at some of the stories that have been making the headlines. So we zoom in the story that was done by Prudence Chota, and this is the story where the Zambia Statistical Agency, ZAMSTAT, says it has deployed all the 45,000 census enumerators and supervisors to their respective stations. ZAMSTAT's interim statistician General Mulenga Musepa has attributed the delay in the deployment to technical errors that were as a result of enumerators deleting the maps from the tablets, and after the training. Well, it says that the matter was however resolved, and that the last batch of the enumerators has been dispatched today. So we'll listen to that story, and others will be back on the other side. The other story that will zoom back to back is that pertaining to the Cleaning Association of Zambia President Lawrence Makumbi, who has noted with concern that the major foreign chain stores that have operated in Zambia for almost 30 years have continued to use foreign cleaning companies, breaking the law with impunity. We'll be back on the other side. Stay tuned.
We did push quite a number of enumerators, and even this morning. So I think what will be key is just to support them and see how far we can actually go. Some of the issues, of course, for Lusaka district, being so big, we had the issues of map files. You may have heard of TPKs. When the trainees were after they finished from doing the assessments for selection to position of supervisor and the enumerators, some of them accidentally deleted the map files. Okay, that's not only for Lusaka. I think even in area like Rumezi and Gabwe that happened. But that's not an issue really, because we quickly moved in. Each district has got a district IT expert, and being supported from the center here, the core center for the IT, we did send the TPKs, the map files, to the DITs so that those can be replaced, and they've since been replaced. And this is how, by yesterday, we were able to offload a number of enumerators into the field. Inflation in the month of August slowed down to 9.8% from 9.9%, which was recorded in July. Now that is the annual inflation.
All we see as a country is the mushrooming of these stores at every street corner of our country. At the grand store openings of these chain stores, the Zambian managers give very convincing statements on how they purportedly are supporting Zambians. We wish to call upon the Minister of Commerce and the Minister of SMEs. Don't just listen to these speeches. Go on the ground to these chain stores and prove what they say, because most of the times they are lying to government. As a matter of fact, ask them today how many of the 50 chain stores are being cleaned by Zambians. It's less than 1%. We wish to state that His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema and the new Dawn government, they must be able to ensure they go through what these foreign investors are telling them, because us Zambians are able to clean these shops, but they just do not want to give us contracts. We appeal to your intervention, President Hakainde Hichilema, as we are not just good to buy groceries from these chain stores, we are also able to clean these stores. We are able to clean the debt that we create.
There you have it. That's Mr. Lawrence Makumbi there, who was actually highlighting issues pertaining to local businesses, and he is joining me in the studio to have this conversation. The first anniversary of the UPND administration in office, and how you think they have fared pertaining to addressing the plight of local businesses in the country. Mr. Makumbi, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Patrick, and good morning, Camnet, and good morning, viewers out there.
Interesting conversation you had with our reporter there. Mr. Makumbi, you have been talking about prioritizing Zambians, and that's weighing into the cleaning industry, which you represent. How do you say the UPND administration has fared in ensuring that they create a favorable environment for local businesses to thrive?
Okay, first of all, we wish to congratulate them for the past 1 year of success in regards to entrepreneurs. As you may know, I may be representing Cleaning Association of Zambia, but I'm also the chairman for Indigenous Zambian Lobby Group. Hence, maybe when I talk, you may find that I talk multi-sectorial. I may talk about other industries as well, because I'm the current chairman there. So when I look at the past 1 year of the UPND, first of all, it's good to have a president that is an entrepreneur, because he thinks like an entrepreneur and puts up policies that are pro-entrepreneurship. The past 1 year has been, we can say, good. In that we've got a lot of policies that the UPND has come up with. Even just the creation of the Ministry of SME is a big plus, is a big bonus to entrepreneurs. there's been a lot of good policy pronouncements. I will repeat, policy pronouncements. There's a big difference between pronouncements and action. So we have the will of the president. As what he says becomes policy, we now are remaining with implementation. We know a lot of the ministers and there are a couple of new PSs that are new to the job. Some are learning and some are already like they've been experienced before. So there'll be a bit of teething issues here and there, but firmly set the policies that have been set. The next 3-4 years, we'll see a great boom in the entrepreneurs if the policies are implemented.
The president is also on record having directed chain stores to ensure that they prioritize local goods in their stores. Is that becoming a reality, or what is your assessment?
Look, the truth is we have a detachment from policy and implementation. We, first of all, before the president spoke about that, I would like to put a disclaimer on what I'm saying. Look, the vice president stated this initially. I think it was a week or two before the president said it. That was last month. I directly, through my positions, went straight to respond to us turning our vice president, later on turning our president into a beggar. I put a disclaimer on that one. What I mean is that our president, our vice president, must not beg these chain stores to put goods, Zambian produced goods, on their shelves. We should not let our president, our vice president, beg these chain stores. It must be automatic that when we have goods that are locally produced, they should be put on those shelves. We should have a difference in these chain stores where 90% must be Zambian produced, if we can produce. Okay? And right now, we have production in this country, and the goods made by Zambians are failing to go onto these shelves of these foreign institutions. That's why now you find the president or the presidency going to ask a mayor MD or mayor country manager of a chain store to put goods on their shelves. We are embarrassing ourselves. So what does this mean? We must have technocrats, the PS, the directors at Commerce, the directors and the PSs at Ministry of SME. They are the ones who are supposed to follow what the president has said and make sure that these chain stores put the Zambian goods on their shelves. Currently, we can say, even after the president said that, have we seen an increase in Zambian produced goods on the shelves of these multinational chain stores? Nothing. That's why I'm saying there's a big difference between policy pronouncement and implementation. So the president begged these chain stores. The chain stores have not responded. I'll tell you right now, let's go to Kablonga, let's go to Manda Hill, or any of these mushrooming shopping malls. You find these international chain stores. They've not heeded to what the president has said. But we know that what the president pronounces is policy. So those technocrats that are in those air-conditioned offices and air-conditioned VXs and Prados, they must leave those offices and those comfortable cars. They must go to these chain stores, because what is happening is embarrassing to the nation. I should tell you one thing. Just 2 days ago, you heard that Namibia and is it Angola or Mozambique, they banned importation of vegetables, fresh fruits into their countries. I think it's Botswana and Namibia. What does that mean? It is sending a signal to Zambians that this is what we have been talking about for the past 10, 12 years, that Zambians can produce tomato. Zambians can produce onion. We can produce most of those products that are coming in from South Africa. But these chain stores, what they do deliberately is that they want their economies there to grow. They produce more than we produce in Zambia. But it does not mean that Zambians cannot produce. Our tomatoes and other perishable goods there at Soweto are being wasted. And yet we are importing these things from there. We've been having problems with the chips. For over 30 years, these chain stores have been importing cut chips and bringing them here, frozen. That's why you see these eating places bringing in all those stuff. How many millions of dollars has Zambia lost in the past few decades just through chips alone? Every other minute you find these mushrooming eating places. Every minute somebody is buying chicken and chips. We are exporting our hard-earned money that we earn here that can stabilize the kwacha. So what am I saying? The technocrats, it's now the onus is on you to make sure that what the president has said should be implemented. To just summarize, I'll tell you, whatever the president and the vice president said, today, I'll report to you. Today is the 26th, right? Of August 2022. It has not been done. The president's call, the president's request, the president's begging of these chain stores to put goods, Zambian goods on their shelves has not been implemented because these chain store managers and directors are stubborn. They look at our governments. You know, some of them have been there for 20, 30 years in those managerial positions. When we approach them as Zambians to put our goods there, they'll frown on us. I'll give you one good example again. I've been knocking on the doors of CEC, the new CEC director. From last year, we've been asking this CEC, Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission, to just call a manager, a country manager for a chain store where cleaning has been done for 30 years. 30 years. A company has been given cleaning contracts at this chain store since they came in Zambia. They came with a chain store. The cleaning company came in a briefcase. Today they are multi-billionaires because they ripped this country up. We've been calling through government officials, through the government officials at CEC. They call someone who's 3 kilometers away at Manda Hill from Los Angeles Boulevard there to where their head office for this chain store is. They call him. He refuses to pick their calls. They write government official correspondence to call them to come and discuss something. He ignores, frowns upon government officials. This is how big-headed these institutions have gotten, because I don't know whether they've managed to corrupt or they've managed to do what with our systems, but they do not respect our laws. That's why I'm saying, if government officials, I know they are listening right now, let them go to these chain stores. It's a challenge. Let the PS, let their directors at Commerce and Small SME Ministry go to these chain stores and see for a fact if what President Hakainde Hichilema asked these foreign chain stores to do a month ago, whether any single item has been placed on those shelves, let alone cleaning services. I'll tell you that in the cleaning sector, we have suffered because for 30 years, this has been happening.
While talking about the cleaning sector, you have also been lobbying pertaining to the mining sector. Do you have the capacity, or you are just calling for the impossible, Mr. Makumbi?
What we have undergone at the hands of these foreign investors is just what you're saying. They've indoctrinated Zambians. They have made Zambians start thinking and believing that Zambians are incapable of doing a lot of things. Simply put, I'm saying, I'll tell you, if we are able to clean UTH theaters where we do serious operations which need 100% germ-free environments, are we unable to sweep a floor? I'll tell you, these chain stores, these big chain stores you see, the job that is there for a cleaning company is only to sweep. They do not go 10 inches above the floor, because we only sweep the floor, and that sweeping of the floor does not allow us to put what we call in our Zambian language cobra, this lavender, whatever, floor polish. We are not even allowed, because in these major chain stores, when you put this cobra that we know, and somebody slips, it's a big issue. They break their ankle or anything. So we don't put that. So the job that is in these chain stores is just to mop and buff. Okay, just scrub the floor, mop it nicely, and seal it up, and the place is clean. Regular cleaning. That is what is there. So are you telling me that we are going towards 60 years of independence? Are we unable to sweep the floors? I'll give you typical examples of where Zambians are excelling. Look at University of Zambia. University of Zambia has got thousands of students there. We Zambians are cleaning. Look at UTH. It's us Zambians that are cleaning. Zanaco, it's us Zambians that are cleaning. Go to Zamtel, all branches in Zambia. We fought for that contract to come into Zambian hands. Zambians are cleaning. Look at Kalumbira Mine. Kalumbira Mine is a state-of-the-art place. Villagers were taken. We wish to congratulate FQM, okay? Villagers who were planting cassava, Kalundwe, they were just digging, plowing the earth. They were taken by Karumbira Mine, trained in a cleaning proficiency. Now today, it's not a foreigner cleaning Karumbira Mine. It's Zambian women, and not just ordinary Zambian women grade 12. No, I'm talking about grade 0. Okay, they've been taught how to clean. Today they are cleaning the whole mine. Karumbira is an international standard mine. It is being cleaned by not us people who are in town, by villagers. So what am I trying to say? I'm saying we are more than able. But what happens is that there's a deliberate ploy by these foreigners to say Zambians are unable to do this, Zambians, and then you know what has happened? These technocrats that are in these offices, the Ministry of Commerce and what, they are so brainwashed at times that they start listening to these foreigners. I'll say today, you clean your own house. We clean our own toilets. Public toilets are cleaned by Zambians. What is so difficult for you today to come and tell me I'm incapable, I've got no capacity to clean, say, a bank, or I'm incapable of cleaning a shop? No, that's an insult to Zambians, because we have proven beyond reasonable doubt, that is why the previous government even went on to give us a law that says cleaning is a preserve of Zambians and Zambians alone. Okay, not a Zambian registered company. Now listen, Patrick, the problem that we have in Zambia is that our laws are so weak. We've got a weak CEC Act, we've got a weak, if not a cake, PACRA Act. A person from wherever, maybe Scandinavian countries or any African country or the Middle East or Western in the Western world can come into Zambia, register a company at PACRA, okay? 99.9% foreign owned, and then go to CEC, get a CEC certificate, or even without going to CEC, goes and participates in a bid. Because they have got a registration certificate of incorporation from PACRA, with a cake PACRA, they are going to be called a Zambian company. You see the problem that we have. So it begins with, now that we have President HH, who is an entrepreneur, we are not saying the president must bar any foreigners to come into Zambia. We are living in a global village, but we must have certain laws where we say, for someone to come and register a company in a certain field where Zambians can do themselves, or even some big sectors, let them partner with the Zambian. We have got places where we can show. You can't go into Botswana and Zimbabwe and form a company alone as a Zambian. That is why you see sometimes people in Zambia go into Botswana. When we go and form a company there, we must partner with the Swanas. Why is the PACRA Act, the CEC Act so weak? It's because maybe these foreigners, they've got somewhere where they can go and they make sure that these laws are not changed, because it's to their advantage. They are the ones that are bringing investments, and at the end, they are controlling this system. We are saying enough is enough. That is why you see in other countries like South Africa, you've got xenophobia. It's because people are pushed to an edge. They've got no employment. They've got no control of their economy. Then they get forced to do that. But that is not what is happening in Zambia. As we are saying, let the laws be changed. The PACRA Act must change so that it should be pro-Zambian. The CEC Act of 2006 must be amended, and these amendments, look, we went to try to push these things. We don't know the invisible hand that has held those laws not to be changed.
The invisible hand there, Mr. Makombi suggesting. Well, in case you are joining us, you are watching the Camnet Breakfast show. Friday edition, business and current affairs. We have also blended it with politics. Later on, we'll be talking about the Kwacha and Kabushi constituency by-election. You too, our dear viewers, in case you want to join the conversation, you can do so on our Facebook page. You can equally call us and give us your opinion and pertaining to the discussion we are having in the studio or any other subject pertaining to current affairs. Minister Makumbi, now, I want to also get your perspective on this issue. You represent a very big constituency of indigenous Zambians. Let's weigh into the petroleum industry. In the past, your group has also been raising concern that petroleum products are equally not, most of it are not transported by Zambians. What are you doing about that, and how is the response to government in terms of addressing your plight pertaining to that?
We've got serious challenges. I will, just for the sake of repeating myself, the politicians, once they come into power, they sometimes forget what they told us. Okay, what do I mean? The current Minister of Mines, I'll bring you to what we want right now to be done in Zambia. We undertook a vigorous research on what Zambians are able to do in terms of the broad spectrum of sectors. Okay, last year, or is it the past 2 years, a serious research was being done by Ministry of Commerce so that we can come up with what we call the local content bill. Okay, where petroleum haulage was reserved, after serious thorough research, was reserved for Zambians, and rightly so. Petroleum transportation. This copper that we have, most of the copper is being moved out of this country using foreign registered trucks, foreign registered and foreign owned trucks. Okay? Just the copper that is going out. Stationery is supplied by foreigners. Okay? Training, just small training, like when these mines are training villagers to do farming and all those kind of woodwork, all those skills around there, they are done by foreigners. Security services at most of these mines is done by foreigners. Okay? Escort services up to just recently were being done. If something is coming from South Africa or it comes from Tanzania, they will be escorted by a foreign company. Those to my small vehicles, which Zambians know the roads better, but foreigners were the ones who were driving those to my escort things. Clearing and forwarding. Something is made in Europe. The agent from Europe comes and clears the goods up to Lusaka. Zambian clearing agents are nowhere in the system. It is very painful that most of our ministers, as they traverse this country, they will see a foreign registered tanker carrying fuel. You see it from Dar es Salaam. It moves into Zambia, Nakonde, Chinsali, Kapiri, and turns to go into the copper belt. Passes the copper belt, where a lot of trucks are, they're just packed for a lot of our Zambian citizens. You know, petroleum, most of the trucks are owned in Ndola. Trucks are seated, packed, not working. Then you see this foreign truck carrying diesel straight into the northwestern province. Not only in Solwezi, it passes and goes into the mine at Mufu, into and straight into the tank of Karumbira. How does that make Zambian entrepreneurs feel? What is that doing for our local economy? Look, for once we should know. The country sometimes thinks we get benefit from this copper. Zambians must know that when we sell copper at any of these mines, the money never comes into this country. It is straight away paid from that company into their company in Europe. So we don't benefit per se from the copper. We don't benefit. There's no money that comes into Bank of Zambia or Zanaco or Stanchart or Stanbic. There's no money from the mines that comes into Zambia. So we should know, what are we benefiting from these minerals? If that money that we know, every day in Zambia we are selling $40 million worth of copper. If that money was coming into this country's bank or financial system, the kwacha would have been 1 to $1. But we don't see that money. So what do we need to benefit as a country? We can only benefit from the projects, from the business around the mines. We don't supply the accessory. We don't carry the copper that we produce. We don't take the fuel to those things. Biggest question that we must ask the Minister of Mines is that when he came into office, why did he shelve the local content bill? Is it the invisible hand? What caused the Minister of Mines? You are the journalist. There are journalists listening out there. We should ask the Minister of Mines, why has he put a well-researched pro-Zambian law that he was supposed to just take to President HH and append it so that it becomes law? Once that local content bill becomes law, what will happen is that cleaning at every other mine will be done by Zambians. Security will be done by Zambians. Fuel from Tanzania into the mines will be done by Zambians. Copper movement will be done by Zambians. That's what the local content bill does. But we don't know what the Minister of Mines, what has caused the Minister of Mines to sit on that thing. Is it the invisible hand? These are things that we should ask as journalists and as a people. Why do you shelve something that is pro-Zambian, that will make sure that millions of dollars are kept in this country? So when you ask me what is about the transporters, what is about the petroleum, this is my simple answer. Ask the Minister of Mines. Why does he shelve when he comes into office? That man has grown up in the copper belt. He knows what happens on the copper belt. He knows what's happening at Mopani, KCM, and the Karumbiras. He knows exactly what is there. He has grown up there. So why has he shelved a well-researched pro-Zambian law that he must just take to the president? What that local content bill is that we are going to take control of all supplies at all the mines. But you know there are suppliers, foreigners, that have got a deep pocket that can do a lot of things. We do not want to insinuate or allege anything, but we are saying we don't know what can make any person shelve a document that will protect Zambians and make sure that they benefit. Look, if we've got no trucks in Zambia, if you give me a contract for hauling fuel from Tanzania to Zambia, or from hauling copper from here to Durban or to Mozambique or Tanzania itself, I will go to Stanbic, I will go to Zanaco, I will go to any of these financial institutions and ask them for a loan, because the contract from a mine is as good as cash. The mines pay. That's why we are saying, why has he shelved it? So it's mind-boggling that we have got the president saying one thing and the ministers going the other direction.
So now, in a nutshell, Mr. Makumbi, looking at what you have explained, so vast pertaining to the plight of indigenous Zambians. Now, would you say that the 1 year in office of the UPND administration has been worth a while, considering these all challenges you are mentioning? And is there hope?
There's a lot of hope, because at least there are pronouncements. Pronouncements, one day they will be taken by one of the technocrats and the PSs and implemented. The president says something which is policy. So the policies that are coming out of the president each and every day are pro-Zambian, because he's an entrepreneur. So he knows what is good for us, but the people that are supposed to implement. So that's why I said in my preamble that there's a very big difference or mismatch from a pronouncement and what is happening on the ground, the implementation. So it is the implementers, the policy pronouncements and whatever the president is saying should turn into. Hence, because spoken goes, it will take it will. So as long as the president has expect to give, they are going to act as
to TV. Hello. To Camnet. Your name. Okay. Can you speak? Thank you. The line was very Makumbi talking about entrepreneurship and everything. How does he go about it? As your concerns to add on the EC issues, Mr. Makumbi, what sort of direction would you want us to move if we were to make progress?
Okay. Mr. Dominic, if I heard the name correct, I think it's Dominic. I didn't hear where he's calling from. Access to capital. Mr. Dominic, as entrepreneurs, we must read widely. And I would say we've got a small problem in Zambia where we are taking a lot of time on Facebook, but we are not using our data correctly. So what do I want? I want most of us entrepreneurs to take time going through what is coming out on social media and also in the print media. CEC, just a week ago, has put out a lot of sectors that they are going to support. Okay, there are these hubs that provincial hubs that CEC has created. Most of Zambians are not taking part in these. They are undersubscribed by us Zambians. I remember a year or two ago, CEC had to advertise and re-advertise because the subscription to these things was very low. So what am I saying, Dominic? Dominic, right now, whatever sector you are in, go on to the CEC website. Right now, for the first time in some time now, CEC has been funded. It has money today. I was there 2 days ago, is it yesterday? And they're saying they've received the funds. All they need from you and me, Dominic, is that write up something and take to CEC. And you'll be funded very low. Very low.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. You are through to a breakfast show? Okay. You can.
Yes, in Zambia we have got a very big challenge over the contract. And if you go around the country, in order to take all the companies in Zambia, most of the rates are foreigners. And for those who are on contract, they are foreigners. And when the Zambians have a problem, they won't help you because those who are on contract, they are foreigners. So, and here in Zambia, the contractors we have, they are self-centered. When you send them the contract, you have to attend them, and you have to give them the instructions that they have to follow. You see? So, this program is so quick, and I appreciate continue. That's what I wanted to say, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moses.
Yeah, so it's about the challenges that we've been mentioning, Mr. Magumbi. So you can pick it up.
Mr. Moses, the problem is that most of the investments in Zambia are done by foreigners who bring their own people from their own countries to come and do the services here. They carry them together as they come. And because they find weak laws, hence that problem persists. It's up to us to make sure that we are doing the right thing. We must follow up these things, talk about them. One day, somebody is going to listen to us, because these mines are owned by those foreigners. That's why I've heard in the recent past that we Zambians must start, maybe we should join Chile Kwamambo on his Ubuntu project, so that we can start owning some of these mines. We have no mine that we can call our own. If we had our own mine controlled by Zambians, 100% owned Zambians, like the way Mopani currently is, if we could own Mopani, then the contractors there would be Zambian. Okay, we have heard, I will tell you personally, my problem is we are looking for $300 million right now, and we are going to bring in an equity partner from, say, Europe. Are we unable, if this government takes this matter seriously and takes an advice from me, a non-entity here, I would say, if you asked any Zambian here to give $1 or $10, which you and me, Patrick, can do. If we take 3 million Zambians to put up $10, which is only 160 kwacha, we will raise that $300 million. You understand? If we multiply that nicely, there are Zambians who can put up $100, this one can put up $50, we can raise that 300 million that Mopani needs to recapitalize. Why are we going to ask outside when we Zambians can put that 300 million? But because we have been brainwashed, you understand? We've been brainwashed to think that only $300 million that comes from a foreign person is $300 million. $300 million can be raised in Zambia if the Lusaka Stock Exchange or anybody, if this government takes this matter seriously. 3 million people can put money together, or even 5 million people, we are capable. Even a maid can put up 160 kwacha, okay, $10, and we can own Mopani 100%. But because we are so hoodwinked, we are so brainwashed to think that only a foreigner is going to do this. So it's a challenge to the UPND government that $300 million is available here in Zambia. That's why you've been seeing people with millions of kwachas in their houses. Those are not correctly owned monies, but we are saying people, even a security guard, can put up 160 kwacha, which is $10 today. We can put that money together and have this Mopani under Zambian hands 100%. For the past 2 years, Mopani has been running profitably, paying all the workers on time, all the contractors on time, under 100% Zambian owned. This KCM has been running under Zambian management for the past about 4 years from Vendetta. Okay? What am I saying? I'm not saying Vendetta was removed and blah, 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 blah. No. If that was not correct, what I'm saying is that we have proven beyond reasonable doubt that Zambians can run these mines. Why not now support them and make sure that these are in totally Zambian hands by raising that 300 million within Zambia? Okay? So that is the only guarantee that this country is going to have to make sure that, one, the copper that is sold from Mopani, the money that is paid from the Mopani copper comes into Zambian banks. That will have a multiplier effect such that the dollar will come down because that money will be held in Zambian banks. You understand what these mines, these foreigners who own these mines, they only send money for salaries, for paying small contractors, maybe just 2% of what they work for. Maybe the money that they sell copper in 1 day is what they use to pay off everybody. The remaining 29 days I paid off to others. You understand? So, my brother Moses, the moment Zambians wake up to know that this mineral wealth is ours and we should own it, like the South Africans, like the Swanas, like the people in Botswana, and like the Kenyans. If I will tell you the truth, in Kenya, people, Zambians, ordinary like you and me, Moses, they own hotels like Intercontinental. When you stand on a hotel that is 7 floors, it is owned by a Kenyan. You understand? Industries are owned by Kenyans. These chain stores that are flourishing here in Zambia, they went to Kenya, they went to Tanzania. But because the Tanzanians, the Kenyans are serious with what they are doing, not us what we are doing here, jokes. There is no chain store multinational in Kenya. It went, it collapsed, and it's gone. They went to Tanzania, opened a few stores there. They went there and failed because the people of Tanzania love themselves. The problem that we have in Zambia is that immediately Mr. Makumbi has a big contract for $5 million, you start pointing all these other things and then make sure that he's labeled and you disgrace him. No, this is not what other countries are doing. They love themselves as a people. If we don't love ourselves as a people, Zambians, we will never see millionaires. That's why everybody that goes up in Zambia becomes a millionaire. After 10 years, you see they've put him down and he's finished. We are not proud of ourselves. Maybe that is the problem that we have in our country. But if we can reverse that, if our politicians can tell us, can change these things, starting from the head, the way we have seen. Our president was a multi-millionaire, self-made millionaire from a village. He's now a millionaire. So that's what we should do. We should be proud of ourselves.
Let's take this call. You are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show.
Good morning.
Good morning, and what is your name and where you are calling us from?
Hello.
Your name and where you are calling us from, sir?
I'm calling from General Lusaka.
Mr. Mobanga, you can go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. I have this concern that I want to make. Yes. When you pass through material, along the river, the what is there? They are showing all the for the road covered for the manual, and that area is posing a lot of serious hazard to people and motorists. I don't know how you can speak to Lusaka Community and government, or you can cut out the entire material, everything has been stolen, and no barriers. Those manuals are putting the very that spread to motorists and young citizens and people. No material they have respected to alcohol consumption. So what that is so that and that's consistent. So kindly speak to better that our eyes to our eyes. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. We'll follow up on that issue in Matero. So, Mr. Makumbi, before I let you go, I want you to give me your perspective on this subject. We see the government taking an empowerment approach pertaining to the issue of CDF, the Constituency Development Fund, as well as the aspect of the Ministry of Medium and Small Scale Enterprises, entrepreneurship programs there. We also have the same under the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Child Development. Now, this empowerment, Mr. Makumbi, you empower young people or citizens with businesses, but how do they thrive provided they have no market or they have no base to thrive within what they are supposed to be doing as entrepreneurs? So we take this call before you respond to that, Mr. Makumbi. Hello, you are through to Camnet TV.
Yes,
Come again? Oh, Dominic again. Okay, Dominic still wants to engage. You can go ahead.
Yes,
Okay. You are in Lusaka?
Yeah, I am in
Ufurira. Okay.
Ufurira.
All right. Okay. Mr. Dominic, CEC is Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission. You can Google it. I think it's cec.org. You can go.
Sorry, I think you can now listen.
Dominic, CEC is a government institution. You can Google it as Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission, which is cec.org. You will find their website. Then you can go to their Facebook page. They've got a Facebook page. They will show you the location of their offices in Lusaka, and they spread across the country. They've got branches around the country where you can go. But what I know for a fact is that all the things that they've advertised, the empowerment programs they've advertised, all of those are on they are on their website. You can download the documents from the CEC Act, from the CEC page. So it will direct you. Just use your internet and do that.
Interesting. Yeah, Dominic is is eager to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
He mentioned the aspect of he has been struggling because his business is not big enough, so it's a hand-to-mouth arrangement.
Yeah.
But these are the people, as in the indigenous Zambians lobby group, you have to be looking out for to ensure that Zambians benefit in these empowerment programs. Before Dominic came through, I was asking a question pertaining to the aspect of empowering, while we are empowering citizens under CDF and other government programs, but are we creating a favorable environment to ensure that they thrive in whatever they do, or it's going to be another try and error, or we do a hand-to-mouth arrangement like Dominic was suggesting?
What I'm going to say may sound a bit controversial, but first of all, I'll put it this way. We've gone through this route before, okay, of empowerment. Empowerment this, empowerment that. Sometimes people who get this empowerment are politically affiliated, okay? We saw it in the past, and I pray it does not work out this time. I've seen there are a lot of changes in this government, so the system has changed. Okay, but what do I want to push forward? Look, it will be folly for government to think that when they give money to someone, he's going to do the right thing with that money. Most of these people, I've seen people registering cooperatives before, in the previous government, in the other governments, and now the lines at Pakra there, behind Pakra there, they are always, that place is congested. I think the last 4 months, people forming cooperatives. There is no way an entrepreneur will wake up today and only become, a person wakes up today and becomes an entrepreneur only because there's funding somewhere. That is not the right way. Entrepreneurship must start from yourself. Okay, so not these fly-by-night entrepreneurs who have gone to form cooperatives and they are going to get this funding. I'll tell you, the rate at which we are going to progress there may be very negligible. If I put it at 5%, these fly-by-night cooperatives, if they are going to succeed, less than 5%, I'll come back here and we come and take an evaluation of the whole process. Once this CDF is done, very few will make it after 5 years. Why? Because we should first of all start with entrepreneurship training. If we do not train you and we give you the money, no matter how much money we give you, you will lose it because you have not learned. That's why we find that people who have won the lottery, ababa wina lotto, fuenya, they can have 5 million kwacha today. Go back to them, you find they are nowhere. This is what we are doing now. It is a good thing when entrepreneurs are going to be empowered. Real entrepreneurs are going to be empowered through CDF. That's a lot of money. One, those people that are making desks and furniture in the rural areas, they will now be advantaged, okay? Because they are not competing with me from Lusaka. You understand? So at least money will flow there. But some of them that, because it will not be one, there are very few entrepreneurs right now in Zambia. Because the culture in Zambia has been go to school, get educated, get a good job, mu Zanako, mu Absa Bank and what. That is the culture of Zambians. Very few, even at these colleges, are teaching proper entrepreneurship. But look, we already have the money. It's at it's at district level or constituency level. What should be done by government is that before they start giving out this money, can they carry out mass training in entrepreneurship? Because the people that are there, even these artisans, these people who make furniture and what, most of them are craftsmen. You see, we came from trade schools. You know how to do electrical, you know how to do woodwork, you know how to do metalwork. Most of the craftsmen in Zambia, they've got no business acumen. You understand? They don't understand they don't understand the accounting. They don't understand most of these. Look, go to Kalingalinga. See all those guys that are welding there. Ask one of them how many of them have accounts in the bank. Maybe none. They are going to open them now because they need the CDF to come into their bank account. Okay, so is that the person you are going to think is going to succeed after 6 months or after 1 year? Because he only opened the bank account. I know these things are happening. People have opened bank accounts that they have never opened in 45, 50 years. That's when they are opening them, because now this is when the CDF is going to go there. So that one already is recipe for failure. Okay? Yes, they are going to be empowered, but we count a person to be wealthy by how long they retain the money, isn't it? So this CDF, we are only going to see that it has worked if people are going to develop from it, not just a once-off and they go back to being broke. But then we are saying the empowerment that the UPND has brought about is great. We just need proper training, and then we carry these people, say in incubator programs where people are going to have mentors to look out for them. Government can do that. If government is able to look for 26 million and pump into a constituency, it's able to employ consultants at constituency level who are going to mentor these entrepreneurs, who are going to take over this, who are going to handle this kind of money. Some of these people, mind you, they've never had 100,000. You understand? Some of these people in Zambia, most people, they've never handled even 50 pin at one go. Boom. They've never handled it. So when you go and give them 2 million, they are going to get mad. Some of them are even going to kill themselves because they are going to engage themselves in illicit activities. You understand? So we have to have mentors so that this government policy by the president, which is a very good program, should succeed. We want it to succeed, but government must put in place certain measures.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Mr. Makombi, for finding time to be with me in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Interesting. Our dear viewers, you've been watching the interview with the Cleaning Association of Zambia President Lawrence Makumbi, and he is the Indigenous Zambians Lobby Group chairperson. Thank you that you managed to make it on the program. Hope you still make it when we call you next time. Just now we're zooming one story from the court, and we'll be back on the other side with the other part of our program today. And this is the story on the Constitutional Court, which has ruled that it will deliver a judgment on the 7th September 2022 on whether the decision by the Electoral Commission of Zambia to refuse to accept the nomination of former Kabushi Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo and former Kwacha Constituency Member of Parliament Joseph Malanji is valid or not. So let's zoom in that story as we zoom out our guest.
To hear the entire matter, right, before the election. So the elections are 15th of September. The case will be held on the 6th of September, and the judgment will be given on the 7th of September, so which will give us an extra 1 week before the elections are held.
Can you still file in the nomination?
Well, this court has power to postpone an election. So if our clients are successful, then the matter will be, the election will be pushed. Because what the court doesn't want to do is to deal with this matter in piecemeal. You deal with this issue today, you deal with that one. And I think the directions of the court are very clear. The Attorney General and the ECZ have been told to respond to our issues, the application that is before court.
And filed the nomination.
They were declared invalid.
No, they were just not accepted. The ECZ decided not to accept the client's nominations. But this is an issue that we are now going to have the court determine if that refusal to accept the nomination was actually valid or not. So if the court finds that the filing of nominations was wrong, or the refusal rather to accept the nominations was wrong, then we take it that the court will then direct that those nominations that were filed should be considered valid, and the candidates will remain on the ballot.
Well, there you have it. Quite an interesting story there from the Constitutional Court. There was a number of activities, especially on the Copper Belt in Kabushi and Kwacha constituencies, respectively. This is because we saw the rejection of the nominations of Bowman Lusambo, who is the PF candidate for Kabushi, as well as Joseph Malanji, who is also the member of, who was the former member of Parliament for Kwacha constituency. So we were going to be engaging in this call so that we can be getting people's views pertaining this subject. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, thank you.
Interesting. This is Patrick Soko, and we are discussing the issue pertaining to what transpired on the nomination day for the Kwacha and Kabushi constituencies, respectively. We wanted to get your perspective as a lawyer. pertaining to this issue. Are you able to give us your perspective regarding this and why your analysis on how the ECZ made its decision to reject the nomination of Bowman Lusambo and Joe Malanji?
Thank you very much. I am in the constituency as a people. It's a tomato in our area. I follow the news on that particular subject matter. And I wish to clarify that the information that the matter is in the constitutional court where these people have gone to go and challenge it, not to allow them to file. But this being a matter of public interest, I wish to draw the attention of the Russian people to the provisions of Article 72, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution of Zambia, which deals with the subject matter of when the office of the Member of Parliament becomes vacant. Particularly Article 72, Sub-Article 2, on paragraph A, it reads, and I quote, the office of the Member of Parliament becomes vacant if the member, then the number ABC, whatever, but I will go specifically to paragraph C, acts contrary to the Code of Conduct, which is an issue. The other one is if a member of Parliament has been disqualified, that's under H, is disqualified as a result of a decision of the Constitutional Court. So now, when you read what that law is saying, and eligibility is provided for under Article 72, Sub-Article 4, which says, and I quote, a person who causes a vacancy in the National Assembly due to the reasons specified under Clause 2A, B, C, D, G, and H shall not, during the term of that Parliament, be eligible to contest as a member of Parliament. So this is a very clear law, because this Article 72 clearly states that shall not be eligible. So if your seat has been nullified by the Constitutional Court, there is no way you'll be eligible. It's very clear, it's very clear, and this is provided for by Article 72, Sub-Article 2, under H. Then as read with Article 72, 4, which clearly states that a person whose seat has been nullified under the reasons stated in clauses A, B, C, D, and one of the clauses and it provides for a disqualification. So if your seat has been nullified by the Constitutional Court, you are disqualified. So during this term, these people are not eligible to contest. They can contest after the life of this Parliament. So there is no contention there. The law is very clear. And this is a law that has been changed. It was changed in 2016 for amendment, that's number 2 of 2016. So there is no real issue there.
Interesting. No, we appreciate your views, Honorable, there, but just bring us also up to speed with what you are doing in your constituency, because we understand that Parliament is no longer sitting, hence you are interacting with the voters in that constituency.
Thank you very much. You can come in. I know my network is not excellent, but I'm able to get you some form of address. The network is very poor in Kabushi district. So thank you very much, sir.
Interesting. So what we do, Honorable, we would like to thank you for giving us your insight, and I will be in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Wish you all. Thank you. Thank you. Long live Camnet. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, there you have it. That was Clement Andeleki. He is the Member of Parliament for Katombola constituency, and he is also a legal counsel. He is a lawyer. He has been helping us to also discuss issues pertaining to law. According to his perspective, he feels that the ECZ was in order to reject the nomination of Bowman Lusambo and Joe Malanji as Kabushi and Kwacha Constituency members, aspiring members of Parliament respectively, and we saw various issues emerging. Various schools of thought have emerged. Others are suggesting that the ECZ was out of order, to suggest that to bar the two contestants, and but we also saw that others are for the idea. But you too, our dear viewers, we also want to get your perspective. What do you think of this, and what should be what is the way forward on this election? Really, we are seeing the UPND on the other side as the governing party, and the Opposition Patriotic Front is the major political party in Zambia, and they won't be on this election. So let's get this call. Hello, you are through to Camnet Breakfast Show.
Hello, Mr. Soko.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Fine, and how are you?
Yeah, this is Mr. Mukuma from Livingston.
Mr. Mukuma?
Mr. Mukuma.
Mr. Mukuma, you can go ahead.
Yes. It is unfortunately, very unfortunately, the is not mandated to interpret law. The talk of convention here is about the issues interpreting the law. It is as good as what happened in Parliament. The Speaker interpreted the law, checking out those people that are guilty their application to the Constitutional Court. You see what happened? The Constitutional Court interpreted it as no, let them go back. Likewise, here, the issue says has got no mandate to interpret the law. What has happened here, my brother, is even me who is not a lawyer, I can be able to see that there is someone who is propagating this wickedness, this evil, this hate, this malice towards these two people. It is something which is visible. You don't even have to be taught. You know, let me tell you one thing, my brother. We must be objective when we look at these matters. We must not be looking at matters because we are Catholics. No. Because I hate this one. No. We must not hate people because this one hates him. No. There are spiritual implications to things like that. Let me come back to that rejection of yesterday. They were just told. Look at this law which they are talking about. It was there from 2016 to 2021. Between 2016 and 2021, there have been by-elections. And the people who are being rejected, who are being advised, just recontested. One of them was Lusambo, he recontested. The court will never shy, my brother, to say what they want to say. If they wanted to put a judgment to say that they have been rejected, they must never contest. The court will put it in black and white written. What they did was nullification. They nullified even doubt. They never wrote to say that Lusambo and Mr. Malanji must not contest. Who are bringing these matters of subsection 17252 are those who have got hidden interest to pass these people. And by the way, Mr. Toko,
yes, sir.
If the UPND if the, has got the support from the ground, why bury this guy? Don't let them go so that they fight and see what happens. Any question, Mr. Toko?
No, I thank you for your valid submission, because it is your opinion and every opinion matters.
Yes, then on top of that, you journalists,
yes.
I want you to move in wisdom. Don't just accept the things, no. Even you, accept the things in wisdom. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Interesting. We'll try to accept things in wisdom, as suggested by our caller there. Very interesting views as usual. He calls us almost every time we have the breakfast show. He is a keen follower. We have many people following the breakfast show, and we value your support for this show. And it has been growing thanks to your support. And assuming another interesting story pertaining to the same subject, and this is a story coming from the United Party for National Development chairperson for elections, Galin Kombo, who has distanced the UPND from the misfortunes of the opposition patriotic front surrounding its candidates in Kabushi and Kwacha constituency by-elections, respectively. Let's listen to that story.
Hello.
Do we have that? Do we pick a call or we go with zoom in the story?
Hello.
Hello, you are through to the station?
Yes.
Yes. May we have your name and where you are calling us from?
My name is I'm America.
I cannot get you clearly.
My what you are doing is that you are not doing fair to that. The matter is not before court. And you want to discuss it, it means that you want to people to make a decision. That is just not the way you work. That is wrong. What you are doing is wrong. You are trying you are now trying to promote those that have decided to stop marginalizing and these other places. Yes, that's wrong. Everything is wrong. You are not making the independent.
The line was getting pretty bad, but he feels there is injustice on that issue. This is an issue that will be actually decided by the Constitutional Court, and we are getting people's perspective pertaining to this. And this by-election, how is it going to turn out, provided the PF does not contest? It becomes probably a walkover for the ruling United Party for National Development, considering that the Patriotic Front previously held the seat and being the major opposition political party in the country. They were going to give competition to the UPND, but as things stand, the PF did not manage to file in two constituencies, being Kwacha and Kabushi constituencies. But what does that make? But we also have other political parties that have actually managed to file in nominations, being in the leadership movement that's in Kwacha constituency, the leadership movement through Professor Oliver Silumbe. We also have an independent candidate and the opposition United Prosperous and Peaceful People, UPPZ, that is led by Charles Chanda. They also managed to file in their nominations. That's in Kwacha constituency. There was quite a number of activities on the Copper Belt during the time when Mr. Lusambo was fighting in Kabushi. We saw huge numbers of his supporters turning up, and the area was flooded green. And we also saw the same, the UPND replicating the same in Kwacha, where they also had red. And we see that for now, the major opposition political party remains the PF. And given that the seats were previously won by the PF, it is going to be difficult for the UPND to lose this election, provided the PF does not contest. But however, we saw Joe Malanji also indicating that it is not yet over, and they are waiting for the court processes to take course. And until the court process say it is over, that's when probably we are going to see the way forward regarding this election, whether it will go ahead without the PF, or probably the court will direct that the fresh nominations be held, given to that. But there have been a number of perspective to this issue, others bringing a number of opinion But for now, we can only wait from the outcomes of the court processes to just hear the way forward. Others are arguing to say the ECZ is in order. Others are saying it is an injustice, especially meted on the two members of parliament, and people are actually sympathizing with them. But however, Mr. Garin Kombo suggested that the misfortunes of the opposition patriotic front surrounding its candidates in Kabushi constituencies, in Kabushi and the Kwacha constituencies, have nothing to do with the UPND. The ECZ rejected the nomination of Joseph Malanji and Bowman Lusambo for the Kwacha and Kabushi constituencies respectively, citing Article 72(4) of the Constitution of Zambia. Mr. Nkombo says the PF should handle the matter with the ECZ, further stating that the former ruling party is paying for abusing the arrogance of numbers in parliament by tampering and enacting the 2016 constitution. So let's hear to what Mr. Nkombo said. We'll be back on the other side.
PF continue singing the song, being victims of the same song that they sang. This law provision that has stopped the process for the candidates of PF to come into this contest were drawn by themselves. This is a law that PF brought. And so this is a lesson to all of us that we must not make laws that suit us. We must make laws that suit society. In as far as we are concerned, you know very well that the 2016 constitution that they mutilated away from the provisions of Mr. Mungomba, may he so rest in peace, they changed it so much to include those very provisions that now seem to be affecting them, using the arrogance of numbers. So those arrogance of numbers are now paying off to the PF. They are victims of the very song that they sang. In 2015, when they enacted a law which we insisted, this is not a good law. So it is a lesson for those of us who are in parliament, who make laws, that we must look at the broader society and not making laws for self-preservation. Law has now caught up with them, but to be honest, we have nothing to do with the ECZ opinion. As far as we are concerned here, I'm speaking as UPND, a political party which is in the contest.
There you have it. That is Garin Kombo, the UPND chairperson elections, talking about distancing the UPND from the misfortunes of the PF, where its candidates could not file in for Kwacha and Kabushi constituencies, respectively. So I've been getting your views, others have done so. In case you still wanted to give me a call, you can do so before I wind up the program, so that you can give your perspective on this topic. Quite an interesting view from Mr. Nkombo there, suggesting that the PF is being haunted by the law that it enacted upon tampering with it, that was the Constitution in 2016. However, others have also argued that it is not accurate to suggest so. Let's get this call. Hello, you are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm very sorry for Livingston.
Livingston. You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yeah, I just want to say on the November election, that is the Kwacha and also in the CFO. The American Constitution is 16. And just to take that the is trying to detect them. I think the should also remember that you see the citizen also operates with laws. So if the citizen operates with laws, then
your line is fluctuating, sir.
There are Hello?
Yes, now I can get you. I stopped hearing you. Now you can go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah, I'm saying that this is also operate under rule for particular
Yes.
So, it has not mean that someone who, for example, is recognized resident, very active, someone needs to be exposed.
All right, the line has been pretty bad, but I got his perspective there. He's saying that the ECZ also has laws and operates on laws, and it has to also interpret the same laws which govern its operations, and so that it can discharge its duties. That's according to our previous caller there. You too can give us your perspective on the subject at hand so that we can get the conversation going. So I think before that, let me just wind up with the story pertaining to the representative of over 2,000 people allegedly swindled by the National Housing Empowerment Fund. A private real estate company have set camp at its premises after being told that the company, which failed to give them land nor refund for the plots they paid for, is up for sale anytime soon.
A story concerning over 2,000 citizens who have allegedly been swindled by the National Housing Empowerment Fund, a private real estate company, has become more complicated as the complainants fear that they may never retrieve their money following reports that the company is up for sale. Representatives of the aggrieved who contacted Camnet News earlier this week explained that the said company promised them various plots and put them on a 5-year payment plan, but failed to give them their plots nor refund them their money, despite promising to reimburse them in June 2022. Visits to the company have been unfruitful, as the place lays deserted with no one to attend to them. The story has now taken a new turn, as the complainants fear that they may completely lose their money, following reports that the owners have put up the company for sale. This has also prompted others to set camp at the company in desperation. The complainants were speaking to Camnet News Thursday afternoon.
Our fear is this place, we hear that is under sale, and a lot of people have been frequently coming to this place to come and view it. And our worry is maybe it may come tomorrow or the other day find that this place is no more. So where do we find the person? Because we have the numbers, but they cannot answer. So the issue is we are appealing for relevant authorities to quickly intervene and help us in this camp. We are a lot. There are more than 2,000, I would say. And some of them, they don't even know what is happening.
Our money is too much. It's not 5 kwacha. No, if it was 5 kwacha, I would have left this since. But mine is more than 100,000 kwacha plus. There are some people who paid 500,000 kwacha, so it's a huge amount of money. So my appeal is police should stay away from the criminals. Don't protect the criminals. If you are investigating the criminals as police, please stay away from criminals.
Meanwhile, one of the directors at the said company, when contacted by the complainants, promised to come to the company and address them, but did not show up all day. Their call is now for the Zambia police to expedite investigations on the company, as the matter has now formally been reported at Charleston Police Station. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
2021 general elections were described as one of the most highly contested general elections in Zambia, as 16 leaders from 16 different political parties vied for the highest political office of the land. When the country thought it had seen it all, new political parties are still emerging, with the latest being the Zambia Must Prosper led by Kelvin Walyafube, who was part of the United Party for National Development UPND alliance in the 2021 general elections. UPND spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa has questioned the motive behind Mr. Fube forming a new political party 1 year after having ditched the PF to join the UPND alliance, and later announced that he has formed a new party to fix the fixer.
That at a time when the citizens of this country want the government to fix the economy and the challenges plaguing this nation, KBF wants to fix an individual. Instead of saying, I'm creating a political party to fix this and that problem, none of that. He says he wants to fix HH. We welcome KBF to that political endeavor.
Mr. Mwetwa also adds that Zambia is a democratic country where people are free to choose whom they want to associate with, but says those who eye for political office should not try to gain mileage by using imperative language against the president.
He accused President HH as running government as a lone individual. Now, this is blatant lies, lying right through your teeth in broad daylight. Because the nation knows that HH is running government with his cabinet, and in that cabinet there are leaders or presidents of political parties who are part of the alliance.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwetwa has challenged the Socialist Party President Fred Membe to clearly tell the Zambian people his motive behind supporting Bowman Lusambo and John Malanji in the Kwacha and Kabushi by-elections, when he has in the past been a critic of the PF administration.
They open and give the correct reasons why they have decided to back Patriotic Front, because they have never told us that Patriotic Front now is no longer a party they branded as most corrupt. So, Socialist Party there should be seen as a hypocritical organization who are masterminders of political opportunism.
For now, we will continue to monitor how matters in the political atmosphere unfolds. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast. Indeed, thank you so much for staying tuned this far. We've had quite a number of things, Patrick. We've had the interview. Katobora Member of Parliament was online, and also the Cleaners Association of Zambia President, Mr. Lawrence Makumbi, always on hand to just give us a heads up on what's happening in the cleaning association sector.
Looking good.
Thank you so much.
Until next week.
Until next week, thank you so much for choosing Camnet TV. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. Good morning.